Pryde's Picks is spoiler heavy and full of crude language. I swear like a sailor, and Lockheed's no better. Consider yourself warned. Hey everyone, it's June 12th, and I'm here with this week's Pryde's Picks. I have a bunch of Marvel, a bunch of DC, a little Image, and a crap ton of Dark Horse to get through, so let's just get started. First up is a Pryde's Picks favorite, Wolverine and the X-Men, issue 31, the first of 5 issues in the Hellfire Saga. Now, where Wolverine has his school for gifted youngsters, Jean Grey style, Killjoys has decided he's going to make his own school of super evil villains. He's got some of the best villains around, Sauron, Mondo, Mystique. He's got Dog, Wolverine's brother, all teaching classes at this school, and a few of the students have defected over. This issue is a day in the life of a student at the Hellfire Academy. They wear uniforms, Mystique is not as menacing as she appears, and, the art was not awful, not great. You just kind of enjoy it enough. It's not terrible. But the whole story itself, I wanted to like it more. It came off super cheesy and almost bizarro land. Like, take everything about the Jean Grey school and flip it on its head. The kids, their lunch is like, let's have marshmallows and cookies. And it was too much for sure. It was a little enjoyable, and you should pick it up just to get a little chuckle out of it. But I really wanted the Hellfire Saga to be something much more. I do get why Killjoys making his school, and he explains it in there. And so you're like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. But, issue 2 better be better, because right now I'm saying just pick it up and read it on the shelf. Do not buy it or the trade just yet. Let's move on to Guardians of the Galaxy issue 3. Now, Star-Lord and his merry band of misfits have been apprehended for their crimes against intergalactic humanity, and his dad wants to try him to the fullest extent. And the team breaks loose, and chaos happens, and they get to bust some chops, and our little friend here, Rocket Raccoon, gets to say, "Blam, you're dead," over and over, which is his favorite thing to do, and makes me hate him even more every issue. The art was lovely, but this story itself, this issue, everything felt too easy. Unless they want them to escape, this is too easy. So this issue isn't really a must-buy for this series so far, but I would definitely pick it up and check it out because I'm kind of enjoying it overall. I'm going to say wait for the trade. Don't need to own it. Jump in with me to Astonishing X-Men number 63. Astonishing X-Men I have not been keeping up with at all, but when I walk past and see a cover of Iceman, like a king on a throne, with a harem of sexy mutants all around him, I have to see what this shit's about. Turns out Bobby is losing his mind, and he has little Iceman clones all around the city, taking people he loves. And you don't know if it's his subconscious protecting them or if it's his subconscious trying to hurt them. Don't quite know what's going on. But his powers have been growing since the Wolverine and the X-Men saga started. And I feel like Bobby has a lot more potential to do some pretty harmful stuff. And so there's like an evil Bobby coming out. I am interested in what's going on. This issue itself didn't sell it to me. I was hoping for a little more girl on ice on girl action, but it was interesting. Hang in there with me. I'm going to check out issue 64. So pick it up, read it on the shelf, and see if you want to join in with me. Let's skip on into DC with Batman Year Zero. So Scott Snyder is a big fan of Frank Miller's Year One, and he doesn't want to change too much about it, but with the new reboot, he has realized that there are loose ends in the continuity, of course, since the DC reboot, and he wants to tie them all together. So almost in homage to Year One, he calls it Year Zero. The only problem is this is a prologue. This is trying to tie up the loose ends, kind of fill in the gaps as to why Barbara Gordon's now related to Jim Gordon, and what else is going on with the different discrepancies in ages of the Robins. I feel like a year and a half into the DC reboot, I really could care less about tying up loose ends. I've already come to terms with the reboot on wherever we're at, and I don't need this. But I do love what Scott Snyder did with the Court of the Owls, and Death of the Family was awesome till the very end, so I will give him some leeway, and I will read this 11-issue arc. But, pick it up, read it, join me in this, but it's not a buy it now, unless you really want to be caught up on the inner goings of a prologue of the New 52. I really think at this point it's a little late and we don't need it. Now we're going to move into Superman Unchained. Now this book apparently has a little bit of a buzz because my twin sister, who never reads comics, asked me, what's up with Superman Unchained and should I get it for my husband? Superman Unchained has Scott Snyder and Jim Lee working together on this, what you think is going to be an amazing story arc. And they decide to give the fans something new, something different, maybe a little different, and prove that Jim Lee still has what it takes. So about 4 pages in, there's this centerfold. This cumbersome freaking centerfold that you can fold open to see a giant space station, and on the other side, you see Superman effing it up. I didn't love this book. DC has a way of over-narrating everything, and I hate that about it. I want interaction between characters. I want conversation. I don't want to read a bunch of narratives about a ship and about a world and about for me, I think that's where DC and I just don't see eye to eye. I particularly didn't like this book for the reason everybody was buying it, and that is the centerfold. It is big and cumbersome, and it's just a pain. I peeled it open very delicately, and I was very excited to see what was inside. And I was like, that's what they're serving me on this plate? It just, pick it up and look at it if you can, or borrow it from a friend. But it isn't worth buying this book. And in the end, there is a Superman-esque guy that shows up, and you don't know if he's quite a Superman or Superman. There's a bunch of different conspiracy theories online as to who the character actually is. But he might meet his match in a Superman versus Superman battle, so I will keep an eye on it. But Scott Snyder, you've got some splaining to do and some work to do. Make this shit interesting and give me some more conversations. I would say definitely buy it now if you're interested in seeing Jim Lee's work all up close in minute detail. And if you could skip it. I wouldn't spend my money on it. But wait for the trade because I think something good is about to happen. We're going to wrap up DC this week with Masters of the Universe issue 1. My dumbass picked this book up thinking, I'm going to see He-Man, my childhood favorite. But what I didn't read in the bottom right corner like a knucklehead is the origin of Hordak. So this is the origin story of a lesser-known villain. Not the origin story of Skeletor, not how He-Man found his friends, none of that. A lesser-known villain. It was boring and I kept waiting for He-Man to show up. I'm going to give it a piss on it. Thanks anyway, Masters of the Universe. Give me something I like. Let's check out the only book I'll be reviewing from Image Comics this week, The Walking Dead issue 111. Kirkman. It has been 11 issues, and after 8 issues and 9 issues and 10 issues, I've complained that I need more action. You don't give me that. This book has 0 action. You guys know the art's the same. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's great. The narration is great. The tempo is great. Give me freaking action already. I need conflict. It's been 11 issues. I remember reading Walking Dead and flipping a page and being like, holy shit, that just happened? Like at least a few times in a trade. Now I feel like nothing's happening. All we see more of is Negan in this issue. If you'd like to know more about Negan and his crazy ass ways and wonder why people follow his ass at all, this is the book to pick up. The guy's out of his mind. Rick and them are finally trying to figure out where they're going, so that's kind of cool. And Michonne might have jungle fever for a man with a tiger. I don't even know. I am not feeling The Walking Dead, and I'm going to say, unless you care about Negan, piss on it and wait for the trade. And you only wait for the trade because you're spitefully reading it at this point, because you are 111 issues in, and you're gonna be damned if you don't get some action. Fucking Kirkman. Channeling a little less rage, I will jump into Dark Horse Comics. Buffy, Season 9, Issue 22. Now, we all know what's been going on. Dawn has been getting sick. Nobody knows what's wrong with her. We're kind of getting a grasp as to what's going on with her. and I'm surprised it hasn't really been attempted before, and that is the fact that we all know that in the series, Dawn was the key. Just come certain season, Buffy has a new sister, and it turns out she has been magically embedded into everyone's memories and lives, and she's the key, and Buffy's supposed to protect her. After all that shit with Glory goes down, you've got a sister left over, and everybody loves her to death, including Xander. Well, now she's sick, and it turns out she's sick because she's slowly fading away, and everybody's starting to forget her, so they are clamoring like motherfuckers to save her life. Xander's pseudo-betrayal might or might not come up. Willow might or might not use magic. Buffy might or might not save the day. It's the usual. It's just like an episode of Buffy rolled into a little ball. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it had cute moments between Spike and Dawn, and that's what it's all about. I do miss them watching Passions together when they were back on TV on the freaking, not CW, what was that channel they were on? UPN. When they were back on UPN, I remember that. Spike totally had a thing for little Timmy. Do you remember that shit? I loved it because I was watching Passions at the time. Yeah, I'm old, and I love Buffy. I'd say wait for the trade. I do want to know what happens with this key, but the issue itself just had its cute moments. Let's jump into X, issue 2. Now, as you all remember, when I reviewed issue 1, I said it reminded me a lot of The Cape. Cut to issue 2, and I open up the first page, and it reminds me of The Cape again. You've got little hottie-toddy blogger here, stalking this guy. They run into each other, she saves his ass, he bails on her. You know, typical story, right? Except this dumb hooker right here decides she's gonna blog online about how she knows where he freaking lives, and then the crime lords that he has been maiming and killing are like, wonder what we should do with this blog. So, that happened. It's so far very typical, so far very predictable. If you want over-the-top guts, gore, and blood, pick up X. If you want to see a rated R version of The Cape, pick up X. If you want something new, skip X. So, I can't even tell you to buy it now or wait for the trade, because I don't think I'm going to wait for the trade. I say, read it on a shelf and then piss on it for funsies. Hi, Mom. The last of our Dark Horse comics is Killjoys. Now, Alex and my Just a Couple of G's sorry. Let's wrap up the last of Dark Horse comics with Killjoys. Now, Comic Book Alex on my Just a Couple of G's podcast said we had to read this book. And usually that means he's just dropping names of a friend he knows that worked with the book. I still don't know if that's true or not. We're going to wait and see this week. But I did read it. It was different. This little girl right here has been protected by superheroes. And the superheroes get killed, like, before the story even starts, so there's no spoilers. And it's a post-apocalyptic world where this little girl's running around on her own, and there's all sorts of weird shit going on. There's a DJ that, like, sends out messages over radio, and he's kind of predicting what's going on as it's going on, so you don't quite know how he's viewing things. Maybe it's the cat. But he's got this hip, cool voice, at least in my head. He's like, hey, cute cats, guess what's going on over here? Zombie people are killing people. Hey, cool cats, guess what's going on over here? The narration of that wasn't really working for me, but the story itself was different, and that does work for me. So I will pick up issue 2 of Killjoys if you want something kind of hipstery, but kind of different. This might be something new to look into, especially if you're a fan of Dark Horse comics. So I say, I haven't said it all day, so buy it now. It's not awesome, not awful, but you need something new in your life, so buy it now. So that's it for this week's books. This weekend at Tate's Comics in Lauderhill, Florida, we are doing a fun event with Peter Panzerfaust. The guys that created the book are in town, and they're doing a meet and greet with the fans and the patrons and the employees. And yours truly will be getting to meet them and interviewing them on our Just a Couple of G's podcast. We might have a little bit of video to share with you guys, so stay tuned and let's see what comes out. If nothing else, a couple of fun pictures and an inside scoop on what's going on with the guys at Peter Panzerfaust. And good night, everybody. Mwah.